The first time I remember almost dying was at 4 a.m. on the morning of Christmas Eve in 1989. I was 18 years old. It was me and Rob in his big-ass brown 1964 Mercedes-Benz. I think it was like a 220 or a 190 class, four-door. Rob had bought it from this Korean dude I used to work for. It sat forever in the parking lot of Nueva Linea, Mr. Kim's toy store. Rob dropped $2,000 on that thing, $1,000 to buy it, and another to get it running, which was a lot of money back then. See, we were drug dealers, and this car was our trophy. Over the last few years, my life had gotten real fucked up at home, and Rob took me under his wing. We met when I was 14 and he was 15. He taught me how to sell weed and how to make money selling coke. I idolized him. He was the big brother I never had. I would have died for him. I thought Rob was crazy for buying this piece of shit car, but he really wanted it. The first time I got inside it, I understood why. It was the perfect creamy tan leather interior that screamed of old-time money and class. The exterior of the car had dents and dings and rust, but the inside, mint, like it just rolled off the lot. I always wondered how that was possible. It was the opposite of most people in my observation. We tricked it out with a crazy sound system we acquired from our friends who had a thriving stolen radio business. These stolen radio entrepreneurs would have stacks of car radios, and we got hooked up with the best. An Alpine with the Blaupont gooseneck equalizer and 4 Redline 15-inch speakers. This system was banging. We'd cruise up and down Bergen Line Avenue, the local drag, blasting George Michael's Faith. And I'll Be Sure is in effect mode on repeat every day. Those albums were smooth, but kind of hard. They matched how we saw ourselves. Smooth criminals. The whole car would rattle with the bass. Everybody would check us out. We thought we were so cool. And even though we were really idiots, it was still pretty dope. One of my fondest memories, summer. Me and my Jersey boys on mescaline in that car. Totally normal in the 80s. Now, insane. So we're smoking a joint and we're waiting for the mess to kick in. Kevin starts giggling like a maniac. Tripping activated. Then he goes, "Now I get why it's called a pisser." He pissed himself. We lost it. Tears streaming, philosophers in a Mercedes on Mesk. But I digress. Anyway, fast forward. December, Woodbridge, New Jersey. We're celebrating Christmas with Rob's family. There was a lot of smelling cocaine and sipping Brugal, Dominican rum, mostly cocaine. The Brugal was a chaser. Rob is Dominican and I'm Puerto Rican. But at this point, I'm basically Dominican too because I learned to speak Spanish from Rob, and my accent is so thickly Dominican, my grandmother would ban me from speaking to her in Spanish. Dominicans and Puerto Ricans don't typically get along, so I was a real cultural anomaly, and clearly my grandmother was racist. But that's another story. The only thing I remember about the party was the song Tu Pum Pum by El General. Tu pum pum, mami mami, no me van matar. Basically, your pum pum ain't gonna kill me. Yes, lyrical genius. To my knowledge, this was the first ever reggaeton record, and my Dominican peoples loved that shit. They loved it so much, they played that song over and over again that night, back to back on repeat. Like hours of tupun pun on loop. It was maddening. I was so coked up, it felt like I was trapped in the reggaeton version of Groundhog Day. Eventually, the party winds down, and me and Rob decide to drive home. Now, I knew Rob was fucked up, but I didn't know how to drive at this time, and he had a proven track record of being a great drunk driver. All the coke we were on would help for sure, so I trusted him. Teen logic at its best. Rob's cousin, the Juice, asked us to take him and his girlfriend Laura back with us. The Juice's real name is Julito, so his nickname makes sense, but rumor had it that the Juice had a giant penis. And that's why they called him that. I never confirmed. Didn't want to. Laura was Italian, and her hair was teased up. Her hair was teased up huge. Classic 80s Aquanet. So we all loaded into the car, and we hit the road. I was in the front, and Juice and Laura were in the back. There was a light dusting of freshly fallen snow on the road. It looked like a Norman Rockwell postcard. I remember asking Rob if he was okay to drive, and he assured me he was. I was a little paranoid from all the coke, but after watching him peripherally for a bit, I relaxed. He was driving like a pro. We got on the New Jersey Turnpike, and there was a huge black and red neon sign that warned of snow and to slow down to 40 miles an hour. I looked at the speedometer, 40 on the nose. Rob was on it. The radio began playing Lisa Stansfield's All Around the World. I turned up the music a bit, and I leaned back in my seat, closing my eyes. The chorus is my favorite part of that song. Been around the world and I can't find my baby. And all of a sudden, I hear a loud whooshing sound like rushing wind and a tremendous bang. My first thought was, Rob, what did you do? I don't know what just happened, but the car is now suddenly spinning, careening down the road, and the interior is lit up bright orange. I couldn't understand why it was so bright, and then I realized we are on fire. I can feel the flames licking at my neck. It's singeing the fur collar on my dope leather jacket. The smell of my burning mullet is sharp in my nose. It's all happening so fast, but in slow motion at the same time. I feel no panic, but my body's responding. I gotta get out of this car. The car slams into the divider on the highway. The driver's side door flies off. It feels like I'm moving through quicksand, like when I'm fighting in my dreams. I reach for my door, and as it opens, I see we're still spinning. I can't exit the car. I'm aware panic is setting in. I'm thinking, this is it. I'm gonna be burned alive in a Mercedes full of cocaine dreams and reggaeton nightmares. Tupun pun. I have a second to register. Lisa's been around the world. I've never even been to Puerto Rico. This is a whack way to go. I don't know when I realized the car had stopped spinning. It feels like forever, but it was likely only a few seconds. I get out of the car and I see Rob. I run over to see if he's okay. He is, thankfully. But then we both realize we don't see the Juice or Laura anywhere. We look at the car. It's engulfed in flames, angry bright orange and red against the snow and the night sky. We run towards the car. We have to get them out. We can feel the violent heat of the flames from like 50 feet away. Anything or anyone in that car is beyond our reach. I'm terrified and horrified and start screaming for the juice. Me and Rob are hugging each other, sobbing. We're afraid the car is going to explode. I can see another car crumpled behind the burning Mercedes and a guy holding his bleeding head sitting on the side of the road. I'm beginning to understand. This guy rear-ended us. I'd find out later he was very drunk and had fallen asleep at the wheel. They would tell us he was doing at least 100 miles an hour when he hit us. Never touched his brakes. That explained the loud whooshing sound and the bang I'd heard. The 1964 Mercedes model we were in had its gas tank in the rear of the car. It had ruptured on impact, and that's why it burst into flames. I can smell my burnt hair. The fur collar on my leather jacket is ruined. The things you notice and remember when you're in shock make no sense. Rob and I standing there staring at what was our prized possession just a few minutes ago, now going up in flames. All of a sudden, someone grabs Rob from behind. I turn to see the juice hugging Rob. Behind him is Laura. Her hair fried, but because it was so teased up, not down to the scalp. Yes, that 80s Aquanet helmet had saved her. The juice had left over Rob in the front seat when the driver's side door flew off and left Laura to fend for herself. Yeah, see, Juice was a track star at Rutgers, and his athleticism had kicked in and saved his life. I don't know how Laura got out. But thank God she did. No thanks to the juice, though. The cops showed up with the ambulance. They arrested the driver. He was blackout drunk and questioned Rob. And honestly, Rob held it down for a man full of coke and Brugal. No, it was impressive, man. The adrenaline had sobered him up just enough, and the cops never even tested him. We all got taken to the hospital for a checkup. But weirdly, not one of us had any real injuries. Unless you count my burnt mulatino, Laura's crispy bangs, and my once dope leather jacket. Man, I freaking loved that jacket. The fur made it classy. No, it repped who I wanted to be, a boss baller. Never mind that I was just a broke small-time drug dealer. I still wore that thing for years. You couldn't tell it was damaged, but I could. Laura sued the shit out of Rob and dumped the juice. I mean, he did leave her in a burning car. The guy who hit us had no insurance, so she did the next best thing. I think she got like 20 G's. That's a whole lot of Aquanet. Me and Rob, we never got a lawyer. We never saw a dime. To this day, we laugh at ourselves. Sold all that coke, but couldn't hustle a personal injury case? Priceless. You'd think I would have had a come to Jesus moment after all that. But nah. I just kept selling drugs and getting high. Even fire couldn't burn off my bullshit. And honestly, I still wonder what could have. The shock wore off quick, and I went right back to running. Looking back, I wish I could just give that kid a hug. And he needed it. He thought he needed the money, the car, the attention. What he needed was some love, some safety, a reason to stop running. Sometimes I still feel like I'm in that car, spinning out of control, just out of the fire's reach. How many more chances do I get? Still a philosopher, just no more Mercedes. No more Tupun either. I did kind of get my life together. I became a reality TV producer. But let's be real, that's not much different than selling coke. All lies and confusions. Same shit. Seems I've got more lives than a Puerto Rican cockroach in the projects. These days, I'd like to think I'm more heart than idiot. It's still a toss-up. What I do know is this. I'm still here, and I'm grateful, truly. Still pissed about that jacket, but I don't wear it anymore. I finally let it go. Thank you.
Richard Velazquez, everyone.